Cloaked in the shadows.
Okay, Amanda.
It's part two.
Yeah, Cloaked in the Shadows.
Yeah.
What is Cloaked in the Shadows?
It's a weird, wonderful podcast. Anything goes, as long as it's legal.
Yeah, that's true. To make it kind of makes sense, we've got a weird and wonderful guest for us today. Now, if you caught last week, we had found out we've had part one of the fantastic Jack Bowman. Now, part one, we were very cruel, Jack, really, weren't we? Because we were hinting all the time what we're going to talk about. We didn't actually do it, did we? So
It was very hard for me not to give it away either. So
you're the club, mate. So now, but obviously today is, and this may go on again on the two parts. Watch this space. But we're here to talk about Jack's new audio film, which he's had a massive hand in. It's during Halloween, and this is really interesting. This is London After Midnight, which is an audio version of the Lost 1927 film with Charlie. Now, Amanda's seen it, but we've seen. Have you seen the reconstruction online in this, Jack? Have you?
So, following on from the rule I placed in part one, and if you didn't listen to that, listener, go back and listen to part one. Following on from that rule, no, I had the screenplay, and that's where we started. And even then, follow that rule. We go back to source. We start with the screenplay, and the point to make is it is a silent screenplay. Hilariously, can we make this into a full cast audio movie? With words and dialogue and sound. So yes, that's what we've done. London After Midnight is back. It's back.
With the clips you sent to us and also the trailer, which you've got some really, really powerful stuff. Now,
thank you.
What made you want to do this project, first of all? It's the obvious question, but
sure. So yeah, like as I said, I just finished 10 months at Moonbug doing like a ton of children's productions, which I love. It's good for the kids because they can actually listen to some of my stuff. And we were just mulling a challenge. We've got a couple of shows in development that we're working on, but nothing we could pull the trigger on and get done and keep the momentum going. And I got laid up with COVID, and one of the things I like to do is I like to put on like those film education, like scripting education videos. I always go back to source. I always think you need to be listening to 101 over and over again. And for some reason, autoplay had switched back on my phone, and it just literally rambled on to this fella who was talking about things that were out of copyright. And the big news for 2023 was that the Sherlock Holmes canon is now entirely copyright free.
Was it really? Oh wow!
Yeah, I was like, and this is everything we should be excited about, because now that last part of Sherlock Holmes you can adapt, and the Conan Doyle estate can't touch it. And literally under his breath, this guy said, also, London After Midnight. Moving on. I'll tell you what else is out. And I was like, well, hang on, row back. Did you just say London After Midnight? And for me, that just set like all these amazing bulbs going off in my head, because like I said, I was brought up in a house where genre TV was there. I grew up on things like Doctor Who, but if you know anything about Doctor Who beyond the obvious, when you get into layer 2 of fandom, there are 97 episodes that are not available. They are missing. They cannot be found. Same with another show I love, which is The Avengers with John Steed.
It's crazy. That's the first season of that. Was it 3 episodes to survive, isn't they?
Yeah, 3.5, because they've got 20 minutes of they've got the opening 20 minutes of the first ever episode. And all these things started racing through my head. Now, I'm the first in line to get to the BFI and buy a ticket when they do an animated reconstruction of the moon base. Well, it's getting very deep. 3 people in your audience are going to get that. I'm very much about enjoying those reconstructions and stuff like that. But something else popped in my head when I was thinking London After Midnight. I know that's missing. I know that's a classic. And I remembered they did a BFI presentation about a recovered episode of The Avengers called The Tunnel of Fear, which previously Big Finish, who do a lot of the cult TV adaptations, they do Doctor Who on audio, they do The Avengers on audio, etc. They had actually gone back and dramatized those missing episodes just using the camera scripts. And a lot of the time, and this is the bit I remember, because they'd done the Tunnel of Fear as an audio drama, and then they showed the Tunnel of Fear, and they called up the director adapter and said, well, what was different? And he said, well, I had to make up a lot of information for the audio drama because the camera script would say, yeah, just as approved on Tuesday. And that's it. That's all they had to go on the scene, and maybe some photos. So, and that's when in my head I went, well, someone else has already kind of creatively proven the model that if the audio information is missing from missing media, you can actually reconstruct it and start to rebuild what was lost. So on a very croaky deathbed, I ran the news by a guy I produced with in the US, Lance Roger Axed, and I said, Sherlock Holmes and London After Midnight is in public domain. And he came back and said, Sherlock Holmes in London After Midnight. And I went, that's interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting.
Yeah. But then I thought about it and I went, well, no, I am actually the kind of nerd that if a piece of missing material comes back, I'm the kind of person who buys the ticket to see it, whether it's rebuilt, reconstructed, discovered, fragments of, etc. And I went back and I said, look, here's my pitch. We do London After Midnight, but we make it as pure and as faithful to London After Midnight as we can. And he went, okay. And then we arranged another call with a guy I'm very frequently collaborating with called Kenton Hall. He's a Canadian writer, producer, musician, actor. And we just sat there on the call for 20 minutes and I said, okay, do we think we can actually do this as an audio drama? And if we did, what would you both want to do? And they both at the same time said, I want to write it. And I went, okay, right. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to give you a month. Here's a screenplay. Follow that. Ignore everything else and go for it. Just tell me what you would do. And I just set them free. And I said, see you when you're ready. And there was little progress updates as they were going along. But always in the back of my head, it was like, am I absolutely crazy for pitching the idea of remaking a silent horror film as a full cast audio drama? And you know what? I remember that, well, the first draft of the script dropped in. And for me, like, it's the most terrifying thing for two reasons. One, I'm horribly dyslexic. And two, what if that script's no good? So it's Schrodinger's script for 24 hours. Just leave it there in my in-tray. And next day, pop it open at midday. The intention of doing what is known as a 10-page test. Sometimes called the slush pile test. But basically, if a script doesn't hold you within the first 10 pages, it doesn't work. Yeah?
Yeah. No, it's like 10 pages of a book, basically. And
yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I have to ask Amanda, what do you think into that?
I think it's really interesting. It's like, it might sound like it's restrictive because you're trying to keep it to like how it was, but because you're doing it for a podcast, there's loads of room for creativity and like adding sound effects and thinking, how am I going to make it obvious that such and such is happening here because people
and that's the thing, because I talk and lecture about this a lot, about how audio is in fact the most visual medium you could work in as a creative, because it inspires the imagination and the pictures go up here. The best computer starts to render the greatest CGI in your head, and it comes from audio. But I just remember getting that script and going, what if this is no good? And I said, I'll give it 10 pages, see how it goes. Popped it open, and 3 hours later I finished we use Final Draft, so you can put in script notes on it. And 3 hours later, I just walked out and I said, I've got 27 notes and they're all basically nitpicks. This is brilliant. And I had to we were babysitting the dog at the time, so I took that for a little walk, and I got to the local park and I just squealed down the phone at Kenton at last via Facebook Messenger going, my God, this is one of the best first drafts I've ever read. And there was still work to do. There was still a process and a looming writer's strike as well. So we had an uphill battle, but I thought it was the first time I looked at it and I went, oh my God, we can actually make something brilliant and perfect and beautiful and faithful in a completely different medium using completely different techniques and give London After Midnight back to the world. And then came the most terrifying thought, which is, oh God, I've actually got to find a way to get this made now. And then everything becomes my problem. So, but it all hinged on that script and that process and that from that crazy idea, could we turn Sonic Silent into an audio drama? And those boys, boom, they pulled it off.
People wouldn't, like I said, 40, go and cast a trailer, and when it comes out on the 31st of October, it's going to be tremendous. Now, I have to ask you, of people see on the Bandcamp page, there is various versions of this knocking around as well, isn't
Yes.
there?
Yes.
Can you tell us about the point behind that then?
Okay, so first of all, first of all, it is expensive to make an audio drama, and we've got very, very good people like Art Malik, and they've come in. All my cast are paid, all my crew are paid. So first of all, fundamentally, help support indie audio drama, buy it back, so we can make more of this. Pay for me to give you good people in the world, but fundamentally, so we have a collector's edition vinyl, very, very limited edition. There's only going to be 301 copies of that.
What I like about it is it's not 300, it's 301.
Yes, but I tell you what, I'll give you this to mull for the end of the podcast. Why did I pick the number 301? All right. Yeah. And then when we put those on sale, we actually got complaints that we hadn't done it on CD. All right, apparently they're still a thing. So we put up again a very strictly limited run of 50 CDs online through Bandcamp. Plus, as well, we're well aware people live in a digital age. But what we've actually done with this to sort of jump slightly ahead to the post-production phase is we have done this in a technique called Dolby Atmos. And Dolby is making a massive play to now make their sound design the thing for audio fiction. So audio drama, fiction, radio plays kind of been stuck in stereo mode between audiobooks, podcasts. But here we got a Dolby Atmos mix, and that means we can basically properly shape and sculpt the sound design like it is a full-blown A-list Hollywood feature film. And then from there, this is the clever bit, when we do that, we can then bounce it down into a binaural mix, which is as close as you will get to the Dolby Atmos mix without breaking your hard drive space. And then we can bounce it down into stereo. And then on top of that as well, we will do a episodic version as well, which will be on the Fable Folly network at Halloween as part of the Midnight Matinee series. But that's a version designed to carry adverts and be broken up, have mid-roll and all that kind of stuff. So partially, if I'm honest, it's about we need to make our money back so we can make more good things and more exciting things for people. But it's about giving the consumer choice. Not everyone likes to buy a digital product. Not everyone has the time or money to buy digital or physical, and some people just want digital only. So, do you want a vinyl? We got it. Do you want a CD? Yep, sure. Are you happy to buy the sort of full whack audio movie version like a DVD? Great, it's there. And if you haven't got the money for it, then there will be a free version available through Fable and Folly. So it's about covering our bases and making sure the widest possible fans of London After Midnight can get it the way they want it.
How did Art Malik get involved in this? Because obviously he's named on top of the promo, isn't it?
He is. So Art, I had worked with. My first big thing for Audible UK was Murder on the Orient Express. So no pressure, Audible, Agatha Christie estate, and one little fact about Agatha Christie Limited is that they very much control the casting lists. And they choose who performs Christie. So every actor wants to do a Christie to get approved to appear in a Christie production, basically, because you get that pass for life, basically. And I'd suggested, if I remember rightly, I think I'd suggested Art Malik for the role of the narrator of the piece, because it had a narrated role. And he came in, he was utterly delightful, really efficient, fast. He had 4 hours of recording and he cleared it in 2.5 hours.
Whoa.
Yeah. To the point where Agatha Christie wanted to come down and see him do the narration. And by the time they arrived, he was wrapped and having a coffee in the green room. So yeah, he told me, I can't repeat it because it involves a very naughty word, but he told me he was just telling stories between takes, and I thought, you're utterly delightful, and I will work with you again in a heartbeat. So going forward, we were looking at London After Midnight, and we had initially an actor claim they were interested in it, but when I went to their agent stonewalled and just didn't seem interested in, you expect a bit of give and take with agents, there has to be push and pull. And yeah, we sort of just didn't get anywhere. And then another name got thrown at me, and I went, oh, that's an interesting one. And we went and spoke to the agent. And actually, the agent was really keen for their client to do it. Really keen. I went, yeah, that's absolutely up their wheelhouse. Yeah. We understand it's low budget or whatever, but we'll push for it. And so we had yes maybe for about 4 weeks on that person, and then just literally suddenly out of the blue he came back, yes maybe, no, bye. And the agent was like, and I think the agent wanted them to do it more than the actor did. So we had a little casting conference and said, right, okay, we're six days out from recording. Who do we like? Who do we want? Let's think outside the box a little bit. Particularly if you know London After Midnight, Art Malik is a very left field choice for the Lon Chaney role. But I just went, let's ask Art. He's nice. So I've got, he's right up there in the top 3 of people I like working with and wanted to work with again. And lo and behold, the speed with which his agent came back, he said, okay, what's the deal? Here's the deal. Okay. Can he read a script? Okay, here's the script. And I think within 3 hours, the answer came back that he said, yes, he's in. And then it was just working out dates and terms and stuff like that. It was the smoothest process ever. Can't praise Art's agent enough for how brilliantly he helped with that. And then on the day when he turned up, he said, well, it's really lovely to see you again. And I just want to say congratulations, because I drove my agent mad because I've got a new hobby. I've discovered toy trains, so it takes a lot to get me out of my attic to come down and do any acting anymore. And I went, brilliant. And then, throughout the day, it was just an absolute joy. And he brought, he absolutely rolled with the sense of silliness I brought to the set and just nailed it. And then at the end, he was, my estimation of the man has only gone up since working with him again. We'll find something else that I'll keep him in mind. But he's brilliant. He's brilliant in this role, and he also helps bring a sort of Hollywood level of gravitas to the piece. When he came in and worked with us, he was the guy who did True Lies. You know what I mean? But since then, he's gone stratospheric again because of The Little Mermaid being such a huge hit on Disney Plus. So we just caught him in that middle spot where he was just about to break through again.
Yes, it's a really interesting choice, because I knew he was in Little Mermaid, and I do remember him in True Lies as well, so I remember seeing that in cinema at the time. And you think, really, you've took him from one point of view for a film audience to another, then to another one straight in the middle of it, so it's it's something completely different. What do you think about doing this? Yeah, so that's why now. Conscious of the time, we've nearly done part 2 here, so what we're going to do is we're going to wrap up part 2 in a moment, and we'll do a quick part 3 because I'm going to ask Amanda a couple of quick questions off mic, and we'll go a bit silly in part 3. Okay, so
yeah, brilliant, bring it on.
I've got some silly answer questions. Okay, right. See you all next week, guys. Is this going on and on this episode?
Cloaked in the shadows.